What is up? This is your LA in a Minute, and I'm here at Inland Empire staple Baker's, which has been open since 1952 as a family-owned fast food chain that had a huge influence on Taco Bell, Del Taco, and many other chains that came after it. This is a true American dream story, so I want to talk about Baker's. Let's get into it. So Baker's Drive-Thru is a successful restaurant chain. It has 39 locations, but it's worth noting that founder Neil Baker is responsible for thousands of additional restaurants. Let me explain. In the 1940s, Neil Baker was a carpenter and a builder, and he had two friends who owned a restaurant called the Airdrome at the Monrovia Airport, and they asked him to move the entire building to Route 66 in San Bernardino for increased exposure. He moved the entire building, and the brothers, Maurice and Dick McDonald, ended up renaming the restaurant and changing the fast food industry. That's right, it was McDonald's. A few years later, Neil Baker opened a Brickyard with his good friend Glenn Bell. But Glenn Bell was a dreamer, and he always dreamt of opening a hamburger stand. Glenn Bell went on to open that hamburger stand, Bell's Hamburgers, which eventually became Taco Bell. Now with two of his close friends succeeding in the fast food industry, Neil Baker wanted to try his own hand at the business. Less than 1 mile away from McDonald's and 3 miles away from Bell, he opened his own restaurant, Baker's Drive-In, in 1952. His wife Carol was an interior designer and a very important component in Baker's early success and the success they would have throughout their later years. Now, Baker's was a success, but McDonald's and Taco Bell were thriving, so soon Neil Baker had another idea. He opened a second location in Rialto, which was the first twin kitchen in the industry. He combined the two ideas, burgers and tacos, under the same roof, and the Rialto location still stands to this day. A few years later, Neil Baker would have another important influence on the fast food industry. He hired a manager named John Gallardi who learned everything he could under Baker and then opened his own fast food restaurant called Der Wiener Schnitzel. Now, as Baker's friends' empires grew nationally and internationally, Baker remained content in San Bernardino. He wanted to remain a regional chain. Some say it was due to his fear of flying. Now, Baker kept right on innovating. He's said to be one of the first to have a Taco Tuesday promotion, which he ran in 1976, 8 years after initially having a Taco Friday promotion. Not quite the same ring. Again, ahead of the curve, Baker's was one of the first chains anywhere to have a vegetarian menu, which they've improved and still have today. Baker's prime years were between 1989 and 1994 when they expanded from 16 to 29 locations. And they've remained true to their concept of preparing all food in-house, no commissary, and they deliver food to your table and refill your drinks. And in the true Neil Baker spirit, he wants Baker's to feel like a family operation. Neil Baker passed away in 2008 and Carol in 2017, but it's still a family business with their nephew Jason Talley at the helm. Though Baker's may not be as large as some of its competitors, it really is a fast food titan with a huge legacy. Inspired by McDonald's and the inspiration for Taco Bell and Del Taco, Baker's is one of the most important fast food chains in Los Angeles and the United States. All right, LA, it's been a minute.